VHS, my name's Steve, and today we're going to show off some customs I've done for my buddy Joe. Which we got quite a few here, because he sent a few things over. Specifically, two of these guys are figures I've done previously, with the Skullcrawler here and the 2019 Rodan. This is the bootleg version. But I've updated the paint jobs a little bit on them since we previously did them, because I have one upstairs, but it's a little more red than this one. And this guy's got a couple extra additions, so I'll show those real quick. I planned on doing a full video, but I was super sick when I was painting this guy in particular. And one of the other things I'll showcase in this video. So I just decided just to kind of show you guys the final product for this one. And then for a later one, we'll go over the entirety of doing the extra 3 little bits, because you'll notice this guy ain't battle damaged anymore. And I guess we'll just start with him. We'll get Rodan off the table here for a minute. But for the Skullcrawler, one primary thing you'll see is that he does not have the battle damage anymore. What I had to use here was some epoxy putty and I forget what the other stuff's called, but it's a filler used for like model cars and stuff. That I needed to use for some of the sections that are super thin. And then milliput for some of the larger gaps. Well, not milliput, but just Ava epoxies is what I use specifically for this one. And then just kind of fill it in all the seams, and then I had to sand it down a little bit just to help match it better to the original skin tone. Because you'll kind of see, like, this part here wasn't on the original figure, and this part back here. But it still blends very nicely and matches with the skin tone, which works really good. And really pleased with it overall. You can definitely tell that it looks like one solid figure, and that's pretty much what we were going for. Oh, you'll also notice that he has a ton now. Which all that is some lanyard cables. It's just like little thin pieces of plastic that I glued together and then cut to fit inside the mouth. And then you can kind of pose them. If you heat them up, they'll stick in one position. But for right now, they just kind of give him a little bit of extra character inside of his mouth. Or her mouth, I should say. And it's just going all over the place. And then you'll see for the back tail, added the fins. Which all this is same thing. It's epoxy putty. Got some wires inside of them just to make sure that they stayed in place. And then paint them a black color with some grays. For the entire figure, it was done in a base gray, and then dry brush a dark gray over top of it, and then dry brush some browns to give it a little bit more color variety. Okay, and you see in the film, it's got some browns in the skin pattern, anyways. And then did the white crest, the white on the arms, on the fingertips. Well, it's more like a bone color. Same with the head here, and then went over top of that with same color, but yellow. Added a little bit of yellow to it to give it a little bit more of a tinge. And then same with on the under section here, and then kept the nails black with a little bit of gray dry brushing just to kind of make them look a little bit more bird-like. But really happy with the end result for this. I do have another one I got upstairs that I'm going to be doing. It's going to be pretty much the exact same as this when it's all done, but I'll show the process on that, how I did the tail and everything on that. But for the Rodan here, this one was primarily just a repair job because the wing was broke. So, oops, rod falls apart pretty easy. So I had to repair the wing. And then this one did in, if I remember right, I painted the entire thing black, and then we went over top of it with the dark gray for the dry brushing to give it a nice like ash look to it. Then did the same thing with the fire effect on the wings. It's oranges and reds. Kept the yellows down to a minimum, like the one I did. So this one's definitely got a lot more orange going on with it on the tail here. To kind of match a little bit better with the Ember look, I think. Because the one that I was trying to go for was when it was flying, you see that the fires burn really brightly on the wings. This one I kept a little bit more toned down because of the blacks anyways. The orange is going to stand out a lot better. Mine was a little bit more red than I did, so having it even brighter than that helped to make it stand out, but it looked a little bit too goofy on this one in particular. And then painted the eyes and redid the inside of the mouth a little bit too. But other than that, nothing too much complicated for this guy. For the Godzilla I did. Also repainted a 1989 Godzilla. As you can see, this one's actually kind of gold. He's got a bit of sparkle to him. This one is meant to kind of look like how we did at the end of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla from the Heisei series, when Rodan sacrifices himself in order to give Godzilla some added power in order to deal with Mechagodzilla. And that Godzilla had a bunch of gold glitter Rodan dust all over him, so we did that with the paint job. And then for the spines, did it in a metallic red in order to make it look like a Spitfire. And then he also wanted it to kind of be similar to like the 2019 with the electricity coming down in certain sections, so did that for him, as you can see over on this side too. And that just kind of encompasses the entirety of the tail. And then also 3D printed this beam, which you guys have seen this a little bit previously on the channel. But this one I did a little bit of a different dry brushing to kind of match the spiral heat ray a little bit better, with some oranges and yellows over top of this one. And what's nice with the NECAs anyways is that this will actually fit inside the mouth and stay. While with the anything like Tamashii, you'll need a Tamashii X stand or a Figma stand. But the NECAs, this will actually hold its place pretty well, which is nice. So you'll have a little bit of a red heat ray, which didn't have previously. At some point I want to maybe update it to be able to have like the spiral on it, but that's for when I got some more time to sit around and try to figure out some of the coloring. But really pleased with this overall. Again, what's really nice about the 89 figure is that it kind of works for just a lot of Godzilla suits from the Heisei series. So if you want like it to look more like a specific scene from one of the series, from any of the Heiseis except for 1985, this guy do you pretty nicely. And then finally, guess I'll keep Godzilla on the table. I did a little display base. Did a Transformer one, which what this is a Trypticon head. Found a file from the War for Cybertron game, chopped off the head off of it and then 3D printed it, and then damaged the crap out of it. So I added all the scratches, scuffs, made a giant gouge on the top of the head. What's supposed to be is that a sword's going to sit in there, so you can have like the accessories for your Grimlock sitting there. And then for the base here, for the rocks, I used it's an insulation foam for this stuff here. And then when working out some of my sculpting, I used some of the extra epoxy putty and just stuck them in places to give the rocks a little bit more variety. Same with along the outside of here, this is all epoxy putty. And then the bottom here for the initial base is just foam board. And then just kind of glued everything together, added some little pieces. Because what this is supposed to be kind of replicating is that there might have been like a Trypticon statue that got broken off and fallen to the ground. And then this is just kind of like rubble from either the statue or just things around that it fell on top of. Or you could kind of maybe take this as a G1 inspiration too, because when characters from G1 die, they turn gray. So you can also kind of think of it like that as well if you wanted. But grabbing a sword. All right, got my little 3D printed sword, but that just rests right in there. So got some place to put his little accessories if you want. And personally, I think it turned out pretty sweet overall. And then also repainted a heave for him too. So this is just some metallic silver with a black dry brush or black wash over top of it, just to kind of fill in some of the gaps. Touched up the window a little bit and add a little bit of blue flames to the undersections of the little thrusters. And hopefully Joe likes all this stuff. I'll be shipping this guys out in the morning and moving on to some more customs. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. So help us defeat those guys by hitting the like button, subscribe, become a ranger today. We also got Instagram, Patreon, Pinterest, Facebook, guys. Look, you want to do what you want to donate. We greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.